Oh no, no, no! And that's the way we're kicking off Send It Sunday this week. Quentin doing his first ever forward loop. Now, before I go any further, I was going to start in a different way. So let's go for number 2, how we could have kicked off this week. We could have kicked off like this. And that's the way we're kicking off Send It Sunday this week. That was Matthias in Holland. Which one would you have preferred to kick off the show this week? If you remember, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to pick a couple of members' comments to win some Windsurfing.TV hats. It's my last Send It Sunday here in Cape Town. I leave for Portugal on Wednesday, so come on, we got to finish with a couple of giveaways because when I get home I can send them out. So let me know how you would have kicked off Send It Sunday this week. But let's go to Matthias because this is in Holland. This is Geordie Vonk's local lake. I had 40-knot winds blowing, and yeah, I think this was one of those gusts. Oh man! Now Max sent me that in. He said, "Don't worry, there was no injuries." But there was a broken harness line. Not a bad escape, a broken harness line from that. That was heavy, heavy. He said, but the old boys were sending it too. Matthias is 16 years old, one of the young rippers. He said the old boys were going for it. And I saw some interesting ways to slow down. Oh, the body slam. Yeah, just look at the way the rig gets whipped up in that wind. And then I saw a bit of lay down action. Yeah, with, variety of different success. Even a lay down duck jibe did I spot. Yeah, so it looks like there has been wind up in Europe. I love to see it. Also got a message from one of our other winners from the O'Neill wetsuit competition in the summer, the body drag competition. Remember Bjorn, young Bjorn? Well, they sent him a new wetsuit, but he's only just managed to use it because he injured himself skateboarding. Bjorn, don't get on that skateboard. Don't do a Leonard Neubauer. But good to see. He said 4 degrees. The wetsuit was absolutely perfect. So glad to hear you're liking the wetsuit. What else have we got going on? Well, before I go to that first forward loop from Quentin, I'm gonna go to Australia. Yes, one of my favorite beaches in the world, and I think anyone who's ever been to Coronation Beach in Geraldton, Western Australia, will just know how much of a playground that is. And check out this video from Daniel and Dave Johns. This is a father and son combo. Now Dave, if anyone follows the channel, they might remember a video I released, was a fair few years ago now. I can't really remember, but it was like, can you forward loop? How old is too old to forward loop? And it was kind of spurred on by, I taught Dave to forward loop at 50 and he was like, I'm past it, I'm such a pussy, Ben, I can't do it. And I was like, look, come on. We spent 2 days, he nailed it. And it was just amazing to see this video and see him pinging out these forward loops after forward loops. I mean, there was one crazy bail. Yes, crazy bail. But he said, Ben, since I learned to forward loop, my enthusiasm, my enjoyment for sailing has just gone freaking through the roof. And he goes, I know you told me that, but words can't put into like actually how much it changes you. And I know on this channel I go on about forward loops and forward loops, but honestly, when you learn to forward loop, especially those guys that haven't done it, for a long time, but they're good sailors, it is just like a massive, massive enthusiasm boost to your sailing. Okay, I won't keep going on about it. We've also got to talk about his son, Dan. So when I met Dan, he was tiny, and I've watched him progress through the years. He's been landing a few back loops, but he got diagnosed with a rare spinal disease, which is obviously causing him a lot of problems. He's losing about 30% of his grip, or he's only got 30% of his grip left in his hands, but he's still trucking on. And it's so good to see. He's got really good style on the wave. Obviously in the jumping, he's having to let go a few times, which is causing some freaking crazy bails, dude. Yeah, but great to see you out there still, man, and pushing the level. Great to see. I think they've got a YouTube channel called Johnsy. Definitely have a little follow of that, and they shows their antics on the, well, I think they're East Coast or down south, East Coast, and also when they're over in WA as well. But good to see you boys still ripping it up. Love it. Absolutely love it. And you might notice they're on Severn Sales. We'll take this opportunity to thank the sponsors. SevernShop.com. Yes, they are still supporting Send It Sunday. If you want to buy something from the Severn family, I suggest you get hold of SevernShop.com. They've got it coming to you. I think they can deliver all over the world as well. So yeah, support the supporters. And a massive thanks to you guys at home. I know quite a few of you are still chipping in the beer money, and a massive thanks. I've had a few on you this trip. I've been gathering some footage, but these are the newest members. They can enter that competition I said about in the beginning. Just have to leave a comment and say member, and you'll be in a chance of winning a hat. So massive thanks to you guys. Like I said, there is content coming. Got some crazy stuff the last couple of days. Just a little sneak peek here of a few little things which to whet your appetite, which will be coming up on the channel as we go through. Yeah, let me and Alessio still doing some team action. I was even on the free wave. Anyway, more of that in the upcoming videos. And now we got to talk about the forward loops. I know I go on about them, but let's go back to that first shot I showed you at the very beginning. Oh no, no, no! Yes. Now this guy is a lunatic. We did a 2-day forward clinic here. We had about 17 people, like mass participation, you know, get the vibe going, and I think it worked really well. We had guys, you know, and girls just trying their very first one, so spinning around in the white water, just getting the hang of it, moving the board, and then we progressed all the way up to actually people nailing their first forward loops. We even had the bass guitarist from Rammstein. Du hast mich. Yes, anyone who knows Rammstein, I mean, he's a tall fella, and he was throwing down some of his first forward loops. I think he's over 50. Does he land one? Well, maybe we might make a separate video on that, but pretty impressive stuff. And for those who don't know, there are 2 windsurfers in Rammstein, and they are senders. That is so cool. That is so cool. That should be knowledge. So I think I should make a Rammstein video. Maybe we'll get some music rights. But going back to the forward clinic, I've got to give a shout out to Quentin, because he was just, I mean, he had commitment. He just had pure commitment, and it got him round on the first day. And as we come into the second day, I said, look, I've got to cover a few things. I really want you to keep that front hand straight. And I'm about to tell him some other stuff, and he's like, yeah. But, you know, just runs out. I'm like, okay, just go, whatever. And I'm like, I'm behind the camera thinking, oh God, this could be crazy, because by the time he got out, it got really windy. So he goes up to the first ramp. I'm thinking, I wonder what's going to happen. I'm pretty confident, but I'm slightly nervous. Look what happens. You what? That was a forward loop. I mean, it wasn't a forward loop, but he was going for a forward loop. That is a perfect air flacker, pretty much. Keeps the front hand straight. He chucked the rig upwind, but again, not quite the right style, but he makes it round. Without coming back in to ask any advice, he trucks on. Second run. I'm like, oh my God, what's coming? I'm like, I can't even watch. He throws it even more. Punch. A punch. He's going for a forward loop. I have to remind you, he is still going for a forward loop. I'm like, oh my God. He comes back in, goes straight out next run. I can't even watch at this point. I'm thinking, what's next? And then he does this. What? He still doesn't come in. He doesn't need any tips. He's like, no. Actually, no, I think he did come in. I said, look, you've got to do a forward loop. You've still got to do the other stuff, throwing it downwind. So he goes, right. Mow straight out there. Next run. That's better. It's freaking better. At that point, all the rest of the senders had kind of come in for the day. We'd had some good success with a lot of them. Should really mention Omar from Israel. Really good style on his forward loops. I mean, just check out some of these. They're like stalled forward-esque, like really nice style. If you looked at one of the last train dives, you would have seen Mike from the last clinic, same style, and that's what we're teaching here. But look at that, board goes off, just looks epic. Anyway, so Quentin, we packed up at sunset and we went straight to Big Bay. Again, he was just going crazy, he had some crazy crashes, but towards the end of the day, pretty solid. Ending the day like that after 2 days learning to forward loop. This is a guy who normally sails on a lake. So yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. That's, I've got to say, and he's a man. He is a bit crazy. Stay tuned to the channel. Anything, one thing left to say, that no matter where you are in the world, don't forget to send it.